Chapter 7, 3 Services. The shop is in the host's sea of awareness. Think of it and it will appear, the system explained. Su Ping began to think about the shop. All of a sudden, a dark gray shop interface appeared in his mind, like the cabinet of a storage unit. Only 3 items could be found in there. Awakening Potion, 100 energy points. Elementary Beast Catching Ring, 100 energy points. Low-rank Astral Pet Food, 10 energy points. Information on all 3 items came up at the same time. Su Ping did not hesitate to choose the Awakening Potion at once. Purchase failed. Insufficient energy, the system cautioned him. Energy? Su Ping was surprised. Only then did he notice the purchase requirement that followed the item description. The energy points are converted from the money made by the host. The exchange rate is 100:1. The current energy stored is 1 point. Su Ping was dumbfounded. He suddenly remembered something. He browsed through his transaction history. -100. As he expected, his account had 100 points less, they had been transferred to an unknown, unfamiliar account. This is to say, with 10,000, I can buy the Awakening Potion, right? Instead of feeling frustrated, Su Ping was excited. That was an utterly cheap price. After all, the Awakening Potion was something that could elevate a common person to an astral pet warrior in one go. If he had to buy it in the federal outposts, the price alone would be astronomical, let alone the complicated channels he had to go through. Besides, the effect might be inferior to this one. Convert all the remaining currency in my account into energy, Su Ping said at once. There were more than 20,000 in the balance of his account. Those had been transferred to him by his family for him to buy some astral pet offspring. Currency unrelated to store activity cannot be converted, the system said. What? Su Ping didn't understand. Is there a difference between the money made in the store and the one made in other places? No. Warning. Profanity alert. Su Ping took a deep breath. He clenched his fist. If so, why can't you convert money that comes from other channels? The currency conversion module is set up to test the host's own development ability. This ability will be included in the final evaluation of the host and the system explained. What final evaluation? Su Ping raised his eyebrows. The host doesn't have enough authority to know. Su Ping pushed down a certain urge and gradually loosened his fist. He had to be humble while he was trapped in an inferior situation. Lucky for me, to make 10,000 in the pet store is not a difficult task. I just need some time. If I can train a pet like the lightning rat and sell it, I can make more than 1 million, let alone 10,000. Su Ping said to himself. Given the host's current limits of authority, you can only rent pets, not sell them. The system doused him with cold water in a very timely manner. Su Ping? He couldn't sell pets in a pet store? Warning. Second profanity alert. The system sounded cold. A painful memory surged in his mind. Su Ping quickly cut back the ideas that were swarming out endlessly on his mind. He took a deep breath in and out. He had obtained the Zen spirit. Even if it's just renting, it's not difficult to make 10,000 every time I rent a pet as good as the lightning rat, Su Ping thought. All the services provided by the store shall be priced reasonably. The host doesn't have the right to adjust the price, the system came out again. Su Ping was at a loss. He had a bad feeling. What are the prices like? Currently, the store only has 3 kinds of services available: pet boarding, renting, and selling food. Since the host has not bought a nursing pen, the 2 existing nursing pens in the store are failed products, complimentary from the system. So, for each pet raised there, the price is 10 per hour. As for pet renting services, the prices will be set according to the rank, ability, and aptitude of the pet to be rented out. Since the host has yet to breed any pets, the prices cannot be estimated at the moment. As for the food, the host will have to go to the cultivation site to harvest food and the price will be set according to the quality of the food. Su Ping was dumbfounded. Only 3 services were available? That was to say, no other mechanisms or services related to pets could be made available, right? Things like the pet's apparel, toys, and other services such as hair trimming for pets were the real moneymakers for a pet store, the main source of income. It had to be known that pets could do more than battles. In their daily lives, most of the time, pets would do some shopping with their masters, as well as dine or watch TV together. Most battle pet warriors were willing to take care of their pets thoroughly. After all, the pets were the only ones that could accompany their masters when it came to life and death struggles. If I can only make money on pet boarding services, 1 hour is 10. Then 1 nursing pen can generate 240 a day. 2 of the nursing pens will be 480 and I can make enough money in about a month. Su Ping did some math. The result was acceptable. 1 month would pass by easily. That being said, the charge for the nursing pen was higher than the market price and it was an hourly rate. Who would come out and put their pets in pet care for an hour? System, you just mentioned that the nursing pens were failed products and were complimentary. Are there other nursing pens that would charge even more? Su Ping asked in his mind. Of course there are, the system answered at once. 10 energy points for 1 elementary nursing pen which has to be sustained by 1 point of energy per day. The host will have to pay for this. It has to be sustained by my energy? Su Ping felt he had met a dark-minded merchant. That is not effective permanently? Of course not, the system replied. The elementary nursing pens are made with spirit stones and the pets inside will be nurtured by pure anima. That can improve the power of understanding and better the constitution of the pets. In that way, the pets can pick up powerful special skills more easily. Su Ping was stunned. Was that so? One had to know that other than using some special treasures, only advanced trainers could inspire the power of understanding in a pet. But according to the system, 1 nursing pen had such an effect. That was practically to say that the pet could be looked after by an advanced trainer at all times. What is the price for this kind of elementary nursing pen? Su Ping asked in a hurry. 100 per hour, the system replied. Su Ping fell into silence. In the market, averagely speaking, pet boarding would be charged at around 100 for 10 days unless the master had special requirements for extra services. Other than that, the price was pretty much the same everywhere. Considering this, 100 per hour would make 2,400 per day. That would be 24,000 for 10 days. The price was 24 times as high as that of other pet stores. System, Su Ping said all of a sudden. Yes? Can you make the price even higher? Eventually, the system turned down Su Ping's request in a cold-blooded fashion. He felt rather disappointed. The price was high, even unimaginably queer. However, as far as Su Ping could tell, such elementary nursing pens could present such benefits that even a price 10 times as higher would be reasonable. But, I cannot afford such an elementary nursing pen right now. Am I supposed to drag along by relying on the failed nursing pen? Su Ping found himself in a predicament. As for the food sales, he would have to harvest it from the cultivation site first. Su Ping couldn't help but feel his mouth twitch at the thought of the many deaths he experienced in 3 days in that cultivation site. Life was too hard. Wait a minute. I've gone missing for 3 days. My family must be worried about me. This idea suddenly came to his mind and startled him. The host doesn't have to worry. The time flow in the cultivation site is different from here. Outside, only 3 hours have passed. The system sounded rather calm. Chapter 8, Chaos Incubation. 3 hours? That took Su Ping by surprise. He immediately opened up the computer nearby to check the time. The date shown on the computer was indeed the day he arrived at the store. Phew, he breathed a sigh of relief. That was good. If he were gone missing for 3 days, his mom would lose her mind. Of course, when it came to that sister of his, she might feel differently. Su Ping shook his head. He focused his mind on the store. He remembered the pet incubation and breeding quest he had just collected. Promptly, he began to search the store. Soon, he found a pond like a dried-up well in the lounge at the back of the store. That probably was the chaos spirit pool for incubation the system had just added in the pet store. Am I supposed to do it here? What should I start the incubation with? Su Ping was curious. All of a sudden, the image of hens laying eggs came to mind. His expressions changed a bit. His at-ease stance gradually changed to attention. The host is still within the beginner's protection month. Only 10 energy points are needed for one use of the Chaos Spirit Pool for incubation, the system added. Su Ping was relieved. As long as he could use energy points for this. That being said, using energy was no joking matter either. 10 energy points would be equal to 1,000. Lucky for me, when I finish the mission, I can get a skill book for battle pet warriors, which is to say, I can buy a skill book with 1,000. That is worthwhile. Usually, a battle pet warrior had to master a skill to be enrolled into the Academy for Astral Pets. Such skills would have to take a long time, hard work and practice to master. That was not something that merely 1,000 could buy. System, how can I make a quick buck? Su Ping asked the system in his mind. A moment later, the system gave a brief answer. The host can earn energy quickly by selling food. Selling food? Naturally, Su Ping still remembered this service. In an instant, his hair stood up and he was covered with goosebumps. I need to harvest food at cultivation sites. This cultivation site would not be some place like the Thunder Cloud Realm, would it? He didn't wish to harvest food in some places where he would be threatened by a growing crisis. He had had enough of a brush with death. He would probably not mind an instant death. What he was most afraid of was to be bitten to death, one bite after another, slowly. That would be the most horrifying way to go. The system answered, the Thunder Cloud Realm is not the only cultivation site. It is just one among many, and it is an advanced one. Given the remaining energy the host has left, there is not enough to pay for a round of teleportation to the Thunder Cloud Realm. Host, please select a cultivation site within the allowed price range to go to. Be aware. The more advanced the cultivation site is, the higher the possibility of harvesting precious food. What? Su Ping sat up straight suddenly. Price? Energy? Warning. Second profanity alert. Su Ping's facial expressions were twisted. He had to pay to go to a cultivation site? Was the system sure that it was a super pet system? Wasn't it a zillionaire system? Su Ping felt too ashamed. He didn't want to go moments before. However, a second later, he was told that he couldn't, even if he wanted to. Besides, according to the system, he had lost a fortune. During the previous days for the training mission, he did nothing other than focus his mind on the lightning rat. He had squandered away a perfect chance to harvest food for 3 days in an advanced cultivation site of the Thunder Cloud Realm. If things were different, he would have returned with plenty of food for pets of the Thunder family. System, I blame you, Su Ping sounded full of complaints. The system remained unaffected. You didn't ask. Additionally, as a qualified host, you should have learned to search for everything related to pets. You. Su Ping clenched his teeth. Third profanity alert. Punishment drawn at random. Extreme pain experience, the system warned him. Su Ping opened his eyes wide. No. Ah. Ah. Oh. A long moment later and after a fit of fierce shouts, Su Ping sat by the door of the pet store, listless. His looks indicated he had gone through vicissitudes. Bang! A coin was thrown to him. Su Ping looked up and saw a man smiling warmly at him. He was wearing a business suit and his hair was split in the middle. Then, he could only see the back of the man after he turned around gracefully. Su Ping picked up that coin silently. He gazed at the coin, and gazed at it some more. System, can this money be converted into energy? Su Ping asked all of a sudden. The system. No. Su Ping made an "mo" sound in a low voice. He slowly placed the coin in his pocket and stood up. He patted the dust off from his butt. Life was hard, but it had to go on, right? He went back to the store and Su Ping read the words, "Window to Cultivation Plains," in his mind. Soon, a windowed chart showed up in front of him. Many location names were written inside, and following each location was a digit that indicated the energy required. Su Ping scrolled it down. He saw the word, Thundercloud Realm, and the energy was 1,000. 1,000 energy points for one visit. Su Ping curled his lips. Soon, calmness was restored. He had become composed, Buddha-like. Su Ping kept scrolling the page down. He came to elementary cultivation plains. The energy required to enter such places varied from 1 to 10. What? All of a sudden, Su Ping saw a plane that was also named the Thundercloud Realm, but it only required 1 energy point. Did he read it correctly? Su Ping checked more carefully. The number was correct. So, did the system make a mistake? This system doesn't make any errors, the system's voice came in time. This is a fragment of the plane called Thundercloud Realm. The fragment is a part broken off from the Thundercloud Realm, maybe land from the corners of the realm, or ruins where there are no animals or plants. To go to such places would be risky. The host must be prudent. Fragment? It was until then that Su Ping finally noticed the word fragment written in extremely small sizes. He suddenly remembered what it said in the history books of the Federation. The Thundercloud Realm had broken up and vanished. Could it be that this fragment was from that incident? Then, the one he entered was a complete Thundercloud Realm? But it had fallen into pieces. Why would there be an intact Thundercloud Realm? Su Ping had questions, but he didn't obtain answers from the system. All of a sudden, he felt this system was unfathomably strong. He thought he'd better not mess up with the system in the future. Su Ping browsed through the list and closed it. He did not choose to go in. He was worn out. Simply exhausted. He had died over 100 times in 3 days when he was at the Thundercloud Realm. That meant more than a mere digit. During almost half of the deaths, he was slowly tortured to the end of his life in the most excruciating way. Although every time after he was brought back to life, his strength would be recovered. That fatigue and spirit was becoming increasingly overwhelming. That is why the lighting rat fell so deeply asleep as soon as they came back. Su Ping closed the roller shutter door. The store dimmed down. Promptly, he lay on the desk and slept soundly. Su Yenying had returned to the academy. The large campus had large lawn areas. The green ratio was quite high. In the middle of a plaza in the distance, there were ponds and waterfalls so that some students' pets of the water family could enjoy themselves there. But, at the moment, the pond was deadly tranquil. There wasn't a single pet there. In a campus as large as an airport, there were foul souls scurrying about. It was dead silent everywhere. Su Yenying did not find this strange. Naturally, she knew where everyone had gone. There was a huge stadium-like venue at the end of the plaza. At the moment, the sounds of people cheering were coming out of this place. Even people standing at the gate of the academy could faintly hear that sound. The afternoon match was still ongoing. Hurry up. Su Yenying said to the lighting rat that was following her. Then, she sped up and pressed forward. She had wasted too much time on her trip to the pet store. Luckily, her match was scheduled for later in the afternoon. It would start at around 4. That being said, if the competitors in the matches before hers were to fail too quickly, her match would be moved up. Chapter 9, Thunder Slash, 7th rank skill of the Thunder family. 1. Soon, Su Yenjing arrived at the Astral Pet Combat Stadium. Su Yenying did not wear the academy uniform, but the guard recognized her. He let her in before she presented her student card. Pyro Cut. The Pyro Canine has used the Pyro Cut. Such a shame that the Pyro Cut did not hit its target. The Fire War monster dodged the strike. Wait a minute. No. The Pyro Cut is turning around. Good heavens, the Pyro Cut is traveling back. Su Yenying heard the judge shouting in excitement as soon as she stepped into the stadium. His voice could be heard throughout the entire venue, it was loud enough to wake the dead. At the same time, people were thrilled and shouting on the spectator seats on the sides of the entrance corridor. This was of no surprise to Su Yenjing, who kept her calm. Such a view couldn't be more familiar to her. She looked around and found the seats of her class. Class 2, Grade 3. She hurried over. Halfway through, she suddenly remembered that her pet lightning rat was still behind her. That little guy, she had never brought it to such a grand event. Would it be scared by this magnificent scene with tens of thousands of people shouting their lungs out? Su Yenjing turned around at once, only to find the lightning rat was still close behind her. When she stopped, it stopped as well, and the lightning rat raised its head to look at her. She could see confusion in those small eyes that were only as big as a crack. It was unaffected. Inside, Su Yenying felt she could breathe again. Pets weren't like the average wild animals. Pets had basic thinking and awareness abilities. A pet that was more timid would most likely be immobilized from fright in situations like this. Time was pressing. She had just picked up the lightning rat. She didn't have time to train with it or give it some time to adjust. Su Yenying was gladly surprised to see that the lightning rat was courageous and fearless. Ing, where have you been? I couldn't find you anywhere. You frightened me there. Lan Lele, Su Yenying's friend, had spotted her as soon as she arrived at her class seats. The former ran over at once. I went to pick up my astral pet, Su Yenying said as she followed Lan Lele to the seats of their class. Su Yenying threw a glance at the games and asked, which one is it now? The fourth one. You're almost up, just after Ice Jiang finishes her match. Lan Lele pouted her lips to point at the back of someone with black hair in front of them. Both that person and Su Yenying were the center of attention in the class. Over time, due to the influence of such an environment, those two students had grown to be quite competitive. Since Lan Lele was Su Yenying's friend, she naturally didn't have nice feelings about that student. Oh. Su Yenying nodded. She didn't mind this and kept her gaze on the matches. Then, Lan Lele noticed the lightning rat that was eating the fruit peels on the ground near Su Yenying's food. This is the lightning rat that you sent out for pet boarding, right? Is it starving? Why is it eating anything it can find? Lan Lele sounded surprised. Hearing her words, Su Yenying turned around. Her expression changed as she saw the lightning rat that was holding a piece of fruit peel, eating happily. Drop it. It's too dirty, said Su Yenying while she used the power of the contract to send across her instructions at the same time. As a person with a morbid fear of getting dirty, she could never tolerate seeing her pets eating garbage on the ground. In the meantime, this reminded her of that pet store. That vicious businessman. When the matches were over, she would go to the Association of Astral Pets to file a complaint against that store. Sensing Su Yenying's orders, the lightning rat stopped, blinking its googly eyes. Lan Lele took a look at the lightning rat. Something came to her mind. Are you going to have it join you in this match? She looked at Su Yenying, stunned. Of course. Su Yenying remained composed. Lan Lele opened her beautiful eyes wide. Have you lost your mind? This is the annual pet tournament. The pets that can join in the matches should be at the second rank or higher. Aren't you sending the lightning rat to its death by taking it with you? The academy has rules that no casualties are allowed in the matches. The judge will call it off in time in case of potential danger, Su Yenying replied. Even so, say the lightning rat doesn't lose its life, but what would be the benefit of sending it in? This is just a pet at the intermediate stage of the first rank. Any pet out there can defeat it. Lan Lele was baffled. I know. Su Yenying was determined and resolute. But, don't forget about the Battle Pet Warrior special skill I mastered, 3rd rank strength augmentation. The lower the rank of the pet, the better the effect of my strength augmentation will be. I should be able to boost the strength of the lightning rat to the intermediate stage of the 2nd rank. With my skills and instructions, the lightning rat can fight other pets. Lan Lele naturally knew about the capabilities of this friend of hers to a T. Didn't you say that you asked your family to get you an advanced healer to help you recover the strength of that Fang tiger? Why don't you work with it instead, said Lan Lele, still puzzled. Everyone else believes it was injured during the previous battles. It is my ace card now. I cannot expose it so quickly. Su Yenying lowered her voice. Lan Lele finally understood. She heaved a sigh. Speaking of which, you are so unlucky this time. You've met too many difficult opponents at the beginning of this tournament. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in such a predicament. Su Yenying kept silent. She didn't offer a reply. At the same time, this round of matches had just ended. The one that was using the Pyro Canine won. Both parties went off the stage. In the meantime, the girl that was called Ice Jiang by Lan Lele stood up slowly. She was immediately on the receiving end of the passionate stares from the boys of their class, as well as some glares from some that were gnashing teeth in hatred. That girl sure is lucky. All her opponents are rookies. Lan Lele said, resentfully. Su Yenying frowned a bit. Still, she kept silent. A few minutes later, the battle on the stage had finished. The girl that looked as cold as ice stepped off the stage slowly. Su Yenying felt when that girl threw her a glance. That glance spoke volumes, as if Ice Jiang was telling Su Yenying to not to let her down. Su Yenying clenched her fist. She looked even calmer on the outside. Time to go, Su Yenying said this to Lan Lele and the lightning rat with her. The lightning rat noticed that its master's mindset seemed to have been altered. The lightning rat stood up straight and a keen look flashed in that pair of small eyes. And yet, nobody would throw a look at the eyes of an inferior lightning rat. Not a single person noticed that dangerous aura hidden within. Two along the aisle, Su Yenying walked to the stage in the middle of the venue. She made her way up, step by step. The lightning rat jumped and hopped behind her. She stood quietly in the spacious stadium, amid the looks thrown at her from all sides. There was no trace of fear on this girl's face. In her eyes, there was pride and composure. Su Yenying from Class 2, Grade 3. The judge announced her name at once and continued in a thrilled tone, now, let's shift our attention to the screen and find out who will be Su Yenying's opponent. Everyone shifted their looks to the huge score screen hung above the ground. A string of images flashed past and then stopped in one. Shit. Lan Lele's expression changed the moment she saw the image. It was Zhang Xiao from Class 7, Grade 3. That was quite a formidable opponent. Zhang Xiao could be counted as one of the best in the class. Su Yenying was surprised as well. How bad her luck was. How come she had to compete against another tough opponent? Soon, her opponent was also up on the stage. That was a young man of about 1 meter and 75 in height, with black hair and a fierce glance, wearing a valuable wristwatch. This was a rare mix of a wild and refined young man. Su Yenying from class 2? Zhang Xiao could not help but chuckle as he saw his opponent. I must be in luck. I heard that all your pets have been injured during the previous battles. TSK, TSK. Is the little rat there all that you've got now? Su Yenying's face was clouded and her heart was weighed down. By the stage, the judge announced the commencement coldly, best 2 out of 3. Each party can only send in 3 pets to participate. No malicious wounding is allowed. Now, begin. Zhang Xiao smiled. He reached out his hand and made a grasping gesture to mobilize the contract power. All of a sudden, the space in front of him began to twist slightly. Right after that, a figure that was burning in black flames landed on the ground. Second rank, Power of the Blast. A faint white glow emitted from Zhang Xiao spanned around like a vortex on the 4 limbs of that figure surrounded by black flames. This skill was the most basic augmenting skill that a battle pet warrior should master.